Hello, welcome back to another episode of A Spiritual Ascension, my personal 5-year journey. So if you've been following along with me, and hopefully you have, because things won't make sense if you just kind of come into this video for the first time. So I highly recommend that you go back to the introduction, it says intro video, and kind of walk your way through that. Okay. So this is where I tell my entire story about my 5-year ascension journey. And what I'm doing right now is kind of giving you my life before that and kind of what led up to that journey. Okay. So when I think I left off, I was in the year 2017. I had just started classes, psychic skill classes at the ARE of New York, Edgar Casey Center, and was learning how to um, bring back in my psychic abilities. I had always had psychic abilities. I had many encounters when I was very young, but at a certain age, these things were suppressed. I also think what happened to me at age 5, which there was a video on that, I think that also kind of suppressed. That was kind of like a turning point in my life, um, of everything changing for me and my abilities no longer being available. Well, they were always available. I shouldn't say that. Always available to me, but kind of suppressed. So my father coming through to me in spirit and saying that I needed to bring those abilities back out again. And part of that purpose would be to later on be able to help other people. So I had also told in my last video that I was visited by a gentleman who said I would be doing work with homeless women, and that I kind of needed to clean up all the stuff that I had too many belongings. So between probably the end of 2017, 2018, I'm not exactly sure, I had started kind of looking at my belongings, and I had collected a lot of stuff over the years of working, on Wall Street and having access to a lot of money. And like I say, in New York, if you live in New York, the main things to do there are to shop and eat. So I kind of went through probably 2018 of really looking at the items that I had and kind of downsizing a little bit. I didn't know what the reason was at this time. It'll make sense, a lot more sense later on. But Spirit was telling me to kind of become a minimalist, right? I had started watching episodes about the minimalists and how to go about the figuring out what really mattered to you as far as your belongings. So in 2018, so I'm a Sagittarius. And if you know anything about Sagittarius, all the good things, right? Um, we're philosophers. We want knowledge. We want to learn. Whenever I would go to a new job or a new situation, it wasn't like somebody couldn't give me the big picture. I needed to know the details, the inner workings of everything. I wanted to understand the whole thing. And I'm the type too that I have to take notes on everything. I have to write down. I would have books on books. I still do. I journal so much every day. And all the, like I say in one of my videos, research, 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 because all this stuff is going to make sense. I lost a lot of my, which you'll understand later on, a lot of my writings and research that I did previously, but I wanted to know more, okay? Because I've now come into not only understanding something more about spirituality, but now this newfound thing called my psychic abilities. I remember the first time I had gone to, after I learned about the Edgar Casey Center, and I had signed up for the class, and they were having a psychic fair there on a Saturday. So I said, well, I'm going to be attending classes there. Let me go see, what this is all about. When I attended psychic fair, and I remember getting there, and there were so many people there, and I had never actually been amongst a lot of other people who believed that there was something more than what we were told. And just being, shoulder to shoulder with these other ones that were either readers themselves or were waiting for readings, and just looking around and like, I didn't know this whole community was out there. I thought I was by myself with all these questions and the seeking, that's part of Sagittarius too, is we're seekers. We want knowledge. And um, I had sat down with the gentleman, and my father had come through, and again, those instructions about, I needed to go to the New Hampshire Maine border. Didn't know how I was going to get there. Didn't make any sense. I also had told you that they had told me something about Naples, but I'm just reviewing. Um, when I had gone to the Namaste bookstore, Sam had told me there's something about Naples, and I didn't understand what that was. Um, at some point, I'm not kind of understand. I'm not, don't remember exactly when and who told me different items. I just remember these things. So there was also time, like I said, my grandmother had come through, my maternal grandmother, my father, my son, and now at one point, my paternal grandmother came through. And she, so if you've ever been to a mediumship reading, those in spirit will kind of still have the personality that they had when they passed away. And um, the reader at the time was kind of saying that, she was kind of standing back, but she was there with my father. And the thing that she kept saying was, "Where's the ring? Where's the ring?" And I'm like, "Ring?" I'm like, I don't, I usually wear a ring. I'm like, "I don't have any rings." She says, "Where's the ring?" And that was the thing that she said to me. Now that'll be important later on. Um, I'm trying to think if there was anything else that my father had said. If not, if I don't remember this time, I'll try to bring it back up later on. Um, so going through 2018, I decided to study metaphysics and went deep into really studying and understanding that what we're taught, as far as religion, that, we're here, God is up there, and that we're so separated from God. And this was teaching me something so different and so new, and this understanding, which made so much more logical sense of us. Not only did I understand before that we're all connected, but just the ways of the universe, and that it's not a simple thing as what we see. We all are used to know what gravity is, but we never question it, you know. Um, all the planets are round in most cases, right? But we never question these things, why? Um, and why does, the planets go around the sun? And why does our galaxy go in a circle? And that there had to be some kind of design to all of this, something greater. Um, and that was one of the main reasons why I knew I could never be not believe that there was a God. Studying metaphysics, and then I say to you guys, do your research, 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 in whatever avenue it brings you, because there's not just um, one particular way. I don't know if that makes sense. There's so many different sources, and it's kind of like we're given this information to kind of put together for ourselves. So in all the studying that I've done over the last, I don't know, 13, 14 years, taking a little bit of each thing and putting, it's like taking, okay, puzzle pieces, right? Receiving a puzzle piece here and in there and in there, and then kind of putting it all together, you know? And it's really for us to develop our own skill set, our own understanding of what the universe is. If we question, if we want to understand, the universe is going to give us answers. Okay. Um, but we have to request that, right? We have to be seekers. We have to want to understand it. If we kind of put a wall up and say, well, this is how I believe, and I'm not going to change my mind, which in the past, I probably was a lot like that, that I believe one way and I'm not going to believe any other way. So there was a sense of me now letting go of my ego and saying, I'm open to learning whatever the universe is trying to teach me, to show me. And metaphysics not only helped me to understand the broader things of the universe, but also to understand more about myself, you know. So I highly recommend that you study more about metaphysics and whatever avenue that you're led towards, because it's not an end all to be all. When you start studying one thing, there's so much more out there. And even now, while I was on my 5 year journey, I didn't get a chance to really, well, actually, the first 2.5 years, I did do a lot of studying. But the last 2.5 years, I was so, as you'll understand later on, physically in this survival mode that I couldn't really sit down and um, think about the deeper things that I needed to think about. It was more of a physical survival thing. So now that I'm stable and secure, I'm now able to sit down now and get back to the things that I was learning before and trying to understand those deeper aspects of what Source has given us. Okay. Just checking my time. I try to keep it around 15 minutes to keep you guys interested in coming back, and also I don't lose my voice. But I've done several courses on the ascension process. The link is below, and I just ask that you please like, share, and subscribe. Also, I am open for readings, or if you would like to just talk about spiritual things, higher consciousness, my ascension journey, your own journey. There's a link below to also book time with me. And I'm going to leave it there, and I'll see you in the next video.